Hello, everybody, and welcome to Getting APIs to Work. Today, we say hello to Ali and Inzana. Hey, Ali, how are you doing?
I'm well, Eric. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining. So Ali is VP of Infrastructure and API things at WeTransfer. That was not it, but close. So what's your official title, Ali?
Technically, I am the VP of Product for Infrastructure, DMX, which is the Digital Matter Exchange, and platforms at WeTransfer.
That sounds much better. Okay, so today, I want to talk a little bit. So our official title is Architecting an API Program, Understanding the Value of Good APIs. That's a very ambitious title, but we came up with this idea because Ali was posting a job, and I found it really interesting because it's about API program architecture. So how do you build an API program? And I find that fascinating. So Ali, first of all, how did you come up with that job, even with a title? I mean, I just love the title itself.
Well, it's an interesting role because it exists in the space between, engineering and architecture and also product concerns. How do we create value as an organization? And so there really wasn't any sort of good equivalent job descriptions out there. So I began what I basically am going to call my API creative writing assignment, where I said, all right, I need to do a few things and I need someone to help manage and implement those things as we grow and scale our organization. What are those things that need to be done, and can I find somebody to do them? And so that really was the thing. There was no copy paste from another job description because I couldn't really find an equivalent one out there. But I think it's interesting. It's a slightly different but interesting opportunity.
And I found it so interesting because it just mirrors my experience with, let's say, little larger companies, right? Like all of them, they have an API platform. Maybe they don't call it that, but they have some infrastructure where they secure APIs, where they publish APIs. So there is an API platform, technically speaking. But oftentimes they also are maybe a little unhappy with the success that they get out of APIs, or they read stories where companies talk about how great APIs are and they don't really have the same kind of experience. So they're wondering, how could I get more out of my API platform? And I think this really is where we get to this first part of the story, right? It's like, well, do you have good APIs on your platform, or do you just have APIs? And this is what I loved so much about your job posting, because basically it says, now we want to have good APIs, right? Not just APIs, but good APIs. And that's, I think, really a very, very good path to be on, and also a path that more and more organizations are following. And I also think that the job description that you created, right? I am assuming it's a highly influential role. It's super interesting, and it's going to make a real impact for the digital transformation API journey of organizations.
Yes.
And so how do you think that will play out at WeTransfer?
Well, so WeTransfer, we were founded in 2009, and today, as a file transfer company, not a lot of technical heavy lifting sort of there. But today we have, almost 90 million daily active users on the platform. And we've expanded our remit from, simple file transfer to, really sort of more being embedded in the creative communities, where we're assisting them with workflow, the back and forth of creative content with art directors and creative agencies and things like that. So we are at this really great inflection point, and inflection points have always been my jam, where whatever existed in the past has existed and has done its job, but now there is much more riding on us as an organization being able to deliver a really strong architected API sort of core services infrastructure. And so it's not to say that what currently exists isn't good, but now what we really need to do is think programmatically about it, and that is the opportunity, I think, of this role. how do you think programmatically about quality, about making good APIs and making good API decisions that are aligned to creating value as a business? Because I'm a product manager. I'll never step away from the thing we're here to do is create value. So
Yeah. And we're not even going to talk about this today because it's probably a rabbit hole, right? But the whole question of, well, now if you want to create good APIs, like what do you mean by this, right? So this whole idea of what even is a good API. And there's probably, I mean, there are a lot of definitions you could come up with. Some of them might be a little bit more reasonable than others, but there are many different ways in which you could go. And what I really like so much about the approach you're taking is that saying, whatever your definition is, right? It's a definition you need to make, and then it's something that you need to follow with intent and with purpose, and with somebody owning that and making sure that from now on, this is what we'll create because we believe these are good APIs. And let's briefly look at the kind of things that you have listed in your job description. So can you just walk us through it very briefly in terms of, you know, what does this role for you have as part of the things that they need to do?
Sure. So I think, you know, what you're sort of talking about is being intentional with our choices. So whatever we decide that, you know, definition of good is going to be. And then the other thing is coaching. You know, you don't get a whole bunch of excellent football players together and say, all right, go play, and expect them to, as a team, get better without somebody saying, hey, you know, you need to work on this, or here's some drills. So I think like that really those are sort of the two major elements: is bring it together, the cohesion, and then also, you know, coaching to bring it forward. So, you know, some of the things that are in the job description include stuff that happens at the baseline, like assessing the existing services and service architecture, or creating API style guides and API governance criteria. I am a huge fan of building scalable things. And this is one way that a small organization, as they continue in their journey, can trip over their own shoelaces because they haven't agreed on some basic stuff, and then people don't know how to integrate with them. So it's those types of elements, but there's also, you know, some you know, management type tasks, as well as the sort of technical and more architecture oriented tasks. Things like being a champion for design reviews, and, you know, helping with some API training, being the expert advisor on tooling decisions and their rollout as they pertain to our API program. So really partnering with our wonderful platforms team to make the people, process, and tools triad happen, and to happen with balance.
One of your favorite sayings: people, process, tool.
Yes, like going to be written on my tombstone. It's, everybody will think it's sort of a Harry Potter thing, but no, it's just the big old triad. And, you know, also to help with API design and orienting API design to value creation within our organization, like both internally, internal customers, and providing them with excellent developer experience, but also, you know, ultimately to have external public and partner APIs that do the same thing. And again, I just feel like, you know, in my experience working as a tooling vendor, talking with a lot of companies, you don't arrive there by accident. You have to be intentional about it. And, you know, and not every tool is going to be the right tool. Not every process is going to be a process that you as an organization should do. It will look different in different organizations. What this person is coming to do, we hope, is to really, in a sense, be the product manager, be the architect of that experience for us, and really think about the needs of the consumers, the needs of the organization, and how do we create value for the people who we provide it to. So yeah, so that's kind of where, that's like where it came from for me, you know?
That's a pretty, I love that list. And I think, you know, I think it's a very ambitious list. It's good, but it's also, it's not going to be easy, but nobody said it would be. But so I'm really curious to see what happens. I think it's a really interesting role. Like I said, I also think it's a very influential role. It will make a difference of how things are going,
Mhm.
and so therefore it's going to be something that will be just super challenging and super interesting.
Mhm.
And I'm also curious. I think we'll connect in maybe a month or two and see how things are going, because I'm just wondering. That role
Mhm.
is probably something that we will see more and more. And I'm just wondering how many people are there who find this interesting, who really look like good fits for this position. And I think it's going to be super interesting to interview, to see, what's going on. And I wish you all the best with filling that role.
Thank you so much, Eric. I hope that a lot of people see this and get curious about the role, about WeTransfer, and I do think it is going to be an exciting, influential role. And I didn't have a job description that I could copy paste, but maybe
Yeah.
some people will take this one and take some of those sort of principles into their own organizations, because building things that scale well is hard. And I think, again, the idea behind this role is, if we do it with intention, if we do it with some forethought, we will be much more likely to be successful. And that's really what this role is doing, is setting us up for success as we build out our organization.
Yes, I agree. And I hope, you'll be back maybe in a year, and we'll do an episode that's called Architecting an API Program, How We Did It. And, we'll talk about all the great things that happened.
All right. I am signing myself up. Let's see it.
Okay, great. Ali, thank you so much for joining. It was a fun conversation. I'll link to the job description from the description of the video, right? So everybody who's interested in that, please check it out. And with that, I think we're done for today. Any last words, Ali?
Nope. Just thank you so much for
Nope.
having me. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else we have in the series on
Oh,
architecting
yes.
an API program.
Yes, I'm sure we will have some follow-up. So thanks everybody for watching. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. And until next time, keep getting APIs to work. Bye, everybody.